Hey guys, welcome to this little chat. No, this is not a weekly oracle reading. This is literally where we're having a talk, and obviously the title is Why I Love Mercury Retrogrades. And I know a lot of you are probably out there. We're currently in a Mercury retrograde, and perfectly timed. Somebody started mowing their lawn just as I pressed the live button. So it's always fun when the universe likes to play tricks. But we are in a Mercury retrograde right now, and I really do love Mercury retrogrades. Mercury is my ruling planet, so I'm a Virgo. And I think that, when you can actually step into working with it instead of trying to hide from it and hide from what it's actually trying to bring about in your life, it can really bring about some seriously big magic. So before we go any further, my name is Chloe Metcalf. I run Mama Heart Space, where I channel intuitive guidance, and I also do readings there and support people through intuitive living and help them to find it and live an intentional life. I also have just recently started working with my new business, The Wild She, which is all about channeling divine feminine wisdom, focusing in on the wild woman, and also all of the cycles of the she. And also soon that will be open as a shop, which is really exciting, with some really cool wild woman kind of works. So I'm pretty chuffed, pretty excited, and also you'll be able to get a hold of my channeled artwork there as well. So getting into it now. So the reason why I love Mercury retrogrades, it gives us the opportunity to revisit, revise, and realign our lives. Mercury can kind of play tricks on us. The reason why Mercury can be such a cow and such a bitch is because of the fact that it can whip your ass into line where you have tried to avoid things previously. So have you ever noticed that with Mercury retrograde? If you have avoided paying a bill or avoided speaking to somebody that you know you need to, have you noticed how say, for instance, things break down that you've been meaning to fix or repair or replace? All of those things kind of seem to happen. Or the other thing is, it really focuses in on our throat chakra, and so communication can kind of break down a lot, and we can really struggle to get the right words out. And I think it's funny because I'm today it's you feel tongue tied a lot, and sometimes the message doesn't come out really clearly the way that you want it to. And even today, I can see that the video is kind of lagging a little bit. So it's kind of I feel like it's kind of playing a little joke on me too. So, but really Mercury retrograde can really show you where you kind of where you've been trying to kind of avoid things, and trying to play it small, and it really wants to kick you in gear to get you stepping up into your fullest. So when we realize that it's actually trying to support us, you can think of Mercury retrograde as a parent that says, well, maybe you should have done your laundry and then you would have clean underwear. It's the best way I could kind of put it. Mercury can be the tough love kind of parent, if you want to look at it that way. But Mercury retrograde can also be your best friend. If you can take the time to realize that whenever you plant a seed previous, so anything that you've planned outside of the Mercury retrograde, the retrograde can actually bring into its completion. That's why I like Mercury retrogrades. It's fantastic to use it as a tool to complete works, and especially long-term projects that you've been working on for years. It loves to just kind of pop them through real quick. You ever notice how you get a phone call for something and suddenly a job offer comes through that you've been waiting for ages? People are finally it's almost like people are more likely to communicate with you, or attempt to communicate, or get really clear on their communication throughout that process. But major projects can be completed. I find it the easiest to complete artwork during retrogrades, or speak and do talks during retrogrades, because it helps me to really kind of get clear on the message as well. It's what do you really want to say? It helps you to really think about it and rethink about it before you kind of spit it out there. And it helps us as a collective always to kind of sit back and go, what do I really need to say here? What is really important, and what will kind of get thrown out there and misunderstood. So it helps you to really sit and get really, really focused in on what it is you're trying to get out there. When it comes to things like technology breaking down, like I can tell you this, like, so Mercury's shadow, the 2 weeks before Mercury retrograde, I find that's when most things are going to break down. For me personally, most things tend to break down in the shadow, and also witnessing my dad, who for some reason, my dad in Mercury retrograde, it's kind of funny because everything kind of shits itself and breaks down, and he has like things just don't go well for him in Mercury retrograde, and often the Mercury retrograde comes just before his birthday, and so I feel really terrible that he goes through that just before his birthday every year. But he's a Taurus as well, so he's always really organized and fixes things, and he's always really quite on top of things and headstrong, but then he gets really frustrated when everything goes wrong. And so last year the house, we found out that the house was falling apart, and before that it was bills came in, masses of bills came in, and the poor man had to fix a whole heap of things that it turned out it was originally like a tiny little thing that he could have fixed easily, and because he didn't fix it, or actually even it went back further than that, it turns out that originally it was the house, the way that they had built the house, and if they had taken time to really look at it properly and do it the right way the first time, then he wouldn't have this massive problem now 18 to 20 years down the track. So it's like, really, if you got it right the first time, if you did it right the first time, you don't have to relearn the lesson with Mercury retrograde. But the other thing that Mercury has been really teaching me lately, and I think this is a beautiful lesson as well, is about realignment and what it really means to receive. So if you can look at Mercury as your teacher on receiving, because have you noticed it's like what you put out there comes around back to you, even if it's subconscious. So even if it's a subconscious intention that you've put out originally, where it's like, the subconscious intention maybe was to avoid something, you didn't want to do it, even though you had to, and you could still feel the pull, you needed to do it, but you chose not to do it. It's like, well, here you go, here's that receiving energy because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. But it also helps you to receive the stuff that you did do so that it can come back to you. So any intentions, positive intentions that you set previously can now come into that space of alignment. So thinking of using Mercury retrograde as a tool to realign and to receive can be the best little trick that it can kind of offer you. So by really taking time to realize that in Mercury retrograde, it is best to be still. So it's why it says don't sign new contracts, don't take on new things, don't start new businesses, don't do all of these things during this state. It's because you need to sit back and receive. It is a time where the universe can speak to you, where it's trying to communicate with you. Why communication is so highly lit up at this time is because they're trying to communicate back to you. But because you're so worried about all the things that are falling apart, often we forget to listen. So during this state, it's really important to take this time to be in your be your divine feminine, and be in that receptive state. Sit still and like right now. So today is the 25th of March 2018, and the universe has been very, very clear about the importance of sitting still and to be open and to be soft and to receive and to allow it to come to you. So in this retrograde in particular, so depending on what the sign is in, depends on how, it wants to teach us. But right now it's asking us to sit still and receive. But I think every time there is a retrograde, use it as that tool. Like think of it as winter and let it just, be in your cocoon, and it's okay to kind of hide away because just let it come to you. So what this retrograde has asked of us is to sit still and to be on your throne and to hold your vibration and be in that space where you are realigning yourself. Stay in that state, be on your throne, and allow abundance to come to you. Allow any seed that you have put out to come to you so that you can clear up your reality, clear up your world, clear up your life. But allow it to come to you and allow it to shift things when you are so in that space of being aligned. Because when you realign with the retrograde, because anything RE, so realign, revise, what was the other one that I liked? Well, receive, you know, it's like, it's got all of those like RE beginning of the words. Being in that space can really help bring in that energy. So by using this space in retrograde, which is I believe it's until the 22nd of April this year, we've got like 3 of them. So use this every retrograde, guys. Like, make it your best friend. You know, using that energy to receive and just go, all right, I'm holding this vibration and I'm going to continue to serve in the way that I am here to serve. So for me at the moment, it's the only way that the universe is letting me serve at the moment is by like typing and doing like YouTube lives, because my phones broke down. I went through 2 phones, guys, during the shadow. You know, everything else isn't really, I can't do Facebook lives because my computer won't update. It's, you know, it's having fun, but it's making me to like stop back and be really conscious and really clear about what it is I'm putting out in the world. So everything else I have to step back and I have to, like, you know, organize my home, like do the general Virgo things like tidy and organize and make sure that everything is kind of in order. But other than that, sitting back and just allowing the energy to come to you, to find you, because it's out there and it is seeking you at this time. It is trying to come back and rejoin you in this space. So that's why I love Mercury retrogrades. It is the best tool you can possibly have when you work with it. So get your diary out, mark down every retrograde, mark down the 2 weeks before and like write shadow Mercury retrograde. Make sure that you use it as your best tool rather than using it as a time where the universe comes and stings you in the ass because you didn't do what you should have done. Use it as a time to go, all right, what have I missed here? That's what it's basically bringing up. What have you missed? And to allow yourself that space to receive all of that you have put out in the world in between the retrogrades. So that's why I love Mercury retrograde, guys. If you really enjoyed this video, if it has really helped you to get a grips on what Mercury retrograde does, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it with people, because I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that would love to know what the hell Mercury retrograde really is all about, because I think if we move away from hiding from it and actually working with it, it's going to really support us in a really great way, because the universe actually wants to help us. It really does want to help us. And the more we realize that and the more we get in sync with it, because it is us, we are one, the more we get into that, like that space of being in sync, the easier this whole thing works. It's incredible the more you move into it. So thanks, guys, for joining me. If you would like to get a reading from me, there are links below for my Facebook page. So head to Mama Heart Space if you want to get a reading. And if you want some really cool Wild She channeled stuff, head to the Wild She. And soon there will be a shop open. I'm really excited. This week I'll be on the blue moon. I am picking the sage to start creating my ceremonial smudge sticks, which I'm really super excited for, because they're a special blend. They're channeled and I create them through ceremonial practice for ceremony. So I'm really, really, really chuffed for that. Planting those seeds ages ago, I can finally, you know, collect them and bring them back. And if you want to get a channeled artwork, Mama Heart Space is where it's at. I'm doing higher self channels and you can actually purchase those and have them in your home, so which is really cool. So anyway, happy Mercury retrograde, whatever retrograde you are watching this in. Like I said, it can be your best friend. Work with it, manifest with it, set your intentions previous to it and receive it, and just be in your she throughout the Mercury retrograde. So thanks, guys, for joining me. Big love to you all and happy Mercury retrograde. Bye.